telling you the truth, nobody wants to say out loud. This thing can break us, fast.
Elon Musk drops a critical alert the world can't ignore. A stark signal that the stakes have shifted and the danger is already on our doorstep.
So one of the things that we're doing that I think is interesting is Grokpedia, which we're going to rename down the road to be Encyclopedia Galactica, in honor of Isaac Asimov and Douglas Adams, who both mentioned that in the book. And the idea behind Encyclopedia Galactica is to create an open source repository of all knowledge, like a distillation of all knowledge. And open source meaning anyone can access it, anyone can use it, and if other people want to train on it, they can do so. And then we want to create copies of this and distribute these copies throughout Earth, and even put them on the Moon and Mars and out in deep space. In a way, sort of a modern-day Library of Alexandria. It was the great tragedy that the Library of Alexandria burned down, or was burnt down.
Elon asserts that we can now give people superhuman cyborg abilities, enhancements so powerful they echo the $6 million man.
And we can actually give someone superhuman cyborg capabilities, like the $6 million man, for less than $6 million. For much less than that. I mean, like for something that would be reasonable and affordable, it might be more like $60,000 type of thing. And you can take the signals from the neural link in the mind that would be transmitting to the legs and transmit those to the attached Optimus robot legs. And he would actually be able to run faster than a human. I just bought Twitter because I thought it was having a negative effect on civilization, and just sort of pushing ideas that were anti-civilizational. It's sort of had been somewhat captured by the far left. It's fair to say the radical left. I mean, they wouldn't regard themselves as such, but it was captured by a group of people whose political beliefs are those of Deep Blue San Francisco and Berkeley, which is about as you get in America.
Elon urges that we need a true public square with real freedom of speech, a space where open debate isn't punished, but fiercely protected for all.
I think we need to have a public square where there's true freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the bedrock of democracy. If there's not freedom of speech, people cannot make an informed vote. And if you cannot make an informed vote, you don't have a real democracy. So that's the purpose of acquiring Twitter, was to try to bring it more to the center. There have been no left-wing voices have been banned or anything like that, or suppressed. What we try to do is give equal weight to all parts of the country, so that there can be a public town square where people can exchange ideas and hopefully not resort to violence. I think it's one of like I said, free speech is the bedrock of democracy. It's why it's the First Amendment. Because people came from countries where if they could be imprisoned for what they said. And in fact, this is happening all around the world as we speak. Even in places like Britain, the civilizational risk had to be addressed. And I mean, if America is not strong, then what do businesses matter? America is the central pillar that holds up a Western civilization. And if that pillar falls, everything falls. The reason I founded OpenAI was because I was concerned, based on my conversations with Larry Page, who used to be a close friend of mine, that he was not sufficiently concerned about the dangers of AI. This really came to a head when, at my birthday party, he, in front of a large group of people, called me a speciesist for favoring humanity over computers. I found that troubling. I was like, Larry, what side are you on? It sounds like you're on the side of the computers, But you really need to be on Team Humanity here, you know.
Elon asserts that we need a genuine counterbalance to Google, a force powerful enough to keep tech aligned with Team Humanity at this critical turning point.
After that, I was like, okay, this is it. We got to have some counterbalance to Google. So I thought, what's the opposite of Google? It would be an open source nonprofit. And that's where the word open in OpenAI comes from. It means open source. We are somewhat of an underdog, but they're pretty good with technology. So I don't want to pat myself on the back here, but I'm pretty good with technology. And we are advancing faster than any other AI. So I think for technology ventures, the winner ultimately is the one that is able to move the fastest. I wouldn't say we're doing something entirely different. We're doing some things that are the same, some things that are different. The elements that define success for an AI company are going to be, one, the talent, two, the hardware. How much AI hardware can you bring to bear? That's actually a very big deal. And we've shown that we're the best at doing that at XAI. And then third, unique access to data. And for that, we've got the X system, formerly the Twitter system, which is by far the best source of real-time data in the world. So those are some pretty significant assets. And I think we're going to come up with some very innovative ideas. When I have more ideas in my head than I know what to do with, frankly. So I think we'll make some moves that are not on the chessboard, that people don't anticipate. Some creative moves. And like I said, and I should point out, Grok right now, actually, Grok Heavy is still the smartest AI, best of my knowledge. I recommend trying it out. Grok 4 Heavy is where we spawn several agents. They work in parallel, and they compare their output, like a study group, and give you the final conclusion. And it keeps getting better.
Elon claims they're training Grok 5 to become the smartest AI on Earth, a system built to outpace every rival by a wide, game-changing margin, engineered with speed, depth, and reasoning no model has yet reached.
And now we've begun training on Grok 5. Grok 5, I think, will be the smartest AI in the world by a significant margin on every metric, without exception. I might be wrong, but I think that will be the case, and that will be in Q1 sometime.
Grok 5.
Yes. And Grok 5 is the first time where I thought, well, we have a non-zero chance of achieving artificial general intelligence. Not that it's a high chance. I calculate like 10%. That's what my biological neural net comes up with, which still means 90% chance that we don't, to be clear. But I've never thought that before. And so for the first time, I think, like, whoa, this really could be general intelligence, at least a small chance. Grok 5 will really be something special. And it'll be both extremely intelligent and extremely fast. So that's the confluence of two of my companies. One is being Neuralink, and the other being Tesla. So Neuralink is also making good progress. Now has, I think, over 10 patients with Neuralink implants. And these people who didn't have the ability to move their arms or legs, in some cases, were completely locked in, like Stephen Hawking. And they can now communicate, I think, as quickly, or almost as quickly as we're communicating right now, which is very cool. And that's going to continue to accelerate. So what we can do is use a Neuralink implant that is taking signals from the motor cortex of the brain, and also receiving signals from this somatosensory cortex, and then give someone who's lost their legs Optimus legs. We're really getting like the $6 million man here. I mean, from back in the day. I don't know if you watched that show, but I watched it.
I watched it.
I'm not guessing. I'm telling you. Something is moving in the dark, and it's coming fast.
Elon Musk reveals a warning no one was ready for. A sharp, unsettling message that cuts through the noise and forces everyone to rethink what's coming.
People sometimes try to make it more complicated than that, but it just isn't. So if you have AI and robotics and a dramatic increase in the output of goods and services, probably you will have deflation. That seems likely. Because you simply won't be able to increase the money supply as fast as you can increase the output of goods and services.
Has AI not led to increased productivity yet?
AI has not yet made enough of an impact on productivity to increase the goods and services faster than the increase in the money supply. So the US is increasing money supply quite substantially with, deficits that are on the order of $2 trillion. So you have to have goods and services output increase more than that in order to not have inflation.
Elon says that buying Twitter dragged him back to the vision he had 25 years ago, creating a far more efficient money database, the system he once imagined but never got to unleash.
I'm just kind of slowly revisiting this idea that I had 25 years ago to create a more efficient money database. And if that's successful, people will use it, and if it's not successful, they won't use it. And then I also like the idea of sort of having a unified app or website or whatever where you can do you can do anything you want there. Sort of China has this with WeChat,
right,
somewhat, where you can exchange information, you can publish information, you can exchange money, you can people kind of live their life on WeChat in China. It's quite useful, but there's no real WeChat outside of China.
Elon believes that in the long run, money simply disappears. A fading concept that vanishes once technology outgrows any need for it.
I think long term, I think money disappears as a concept, honestly. It's kind of strange, but in a future where anyone can have anything, I think you no longer need money as a database for labor allocation. If AI and robotics are big enough to satisfy all human needs, then money is no longer, its relevance declines dramatically. I'm not sure we will have it. The best sort of imagining of this future that I've read is from Ian Banks, the culture books. So I recommend people read the culture books. In this sort of far future of the culture books, they don't have money either. And everyone can pretty much have whatever they want. But there are still some fundamental currencies, if you will, that are physics-based. So energy is the true currency. This is why I said Bitcoin is based on energy. You can't legislate energy. You can't just, pass a law and suddenly have a lot of energy. It's very difficult to generate energy, or especially to harness energy in a useful way to do useful work. So I think that probably we won't have money, and probably we'll just have energy, power generation as the de facto currency. So, I think one way to frame civilizational progress is the percentage completion on the Kardashev scale. So, Kardashev 1 is what percentage of a planet's energy are you successfully turning into useful work? And I'm maybe paraphrasing here a little bit, but the Kardashev 2 would be what percentage of the sun's energy are you converting into useful work? Kardashev 3 would be what percentage of the galaxy are you converting into useful work?
Elon asserts that everything eventually becomes energy-based. A future where value, exchange, and progress hinge on how effectively we harness and direct raw power.
So things really, I think, become energy-based.
But if you have solar-powered AI satellites, energy is also free and abundant, because we'll never be able to utilize all the solar energy available to us. So it can't be a store of wealth, essentially, in that sense, can it?
There's not really, you can't really store wealth in like, you can only, you can accumulate numbers in currently, you can accumulate numbers in a database that allow you to some degree, to incent the behavior of other humans in particular directions.
Yeah.
And I guess people call that wealth. But again, if there's no humans around, there's no wealth accumulation is meaningless.
This is a digression, but if you were to consider food as the energy for a human to thrive.
Yeah, food is energy. It's literally got calories, just means energy.
Yeah. So can a farm which is self-sustaining be a commodity that is?
I'm not sure what that means, but you know, there's, I think at a certain point you do complete the cycle where, and I think at a certain point you decouple from the sort of conventional economy if you have AI and robots producing chips and solar panels, and and mining resources in order to make chips and robots, in order to make you sort of complete that cycle. Once that cycle is complete, I think that's the point at which you decouple from the monetary system.
Is that the way forward for the US by virtue of how much debt they have today? Do they deflate away their currency and transition into this new form and lead that push because it would make more sense to them?
Elon asserts that the idea of countries will soon feel anachronistic, borders dissolving as technology binds humanity into a single planetary network where geography becomes almost irrelevant.
Well, in this future that I'm talking about, the notion of countries becomes sort of anachronistic.
Do you believe in it today? Do you believe in countries?
I certainly believe in it today. And I want to just separate like something that these are just what I think will happen based on what I see, as opposed to I think these are fundamentally good things and I'm trying to make them happen. It's like, I think this would happen with or without me, whether I like it or not.
Right.
As long as civilization keeps advancing, we will have AI and robotics at very large scale. I think that's pretty much the only thing that's going to solve for the U.S. debt crisis. You know, because currently the U.S. debt is insanely high, and the interest payments on the debt exceed the entire military budget of the United States. Just the interest payments, and that's at least in the short term going to continue to increase. So I think actually the only thing that can solve for the debt situation is AI and robotics, but it will more than. It might cause. I guess it probably would cause significant deflation because, deflation or inflation is really the ratio of goods and services produced to the change in the money supply. So if goods and services output increases faster than the money supply, you will have deflation. If goods and services decreases, if real goods and services output increases slower than the money supply, you have inflation. It's that simple. Maybe this acquiring Twitter would also be an opportunity to revisit the original plan of X.com, which is to create this like clearinghouse of financial transactions, like basically to create a more efficient money database. Is a way to think about it. Is like money is really an information system for labor allocation. Like people sometimes think money is power in and of itself, but it doesn't really. If there's no labor to allocate, it's meaningless. So if you were to be on a desert island with $1 trillion, dollars or whatever, it doesn't matter. Why speculate when you can be real? I just hope I don't end up on the desert island. It's not going to be very useful to me. But it illustrates my point that if you're stranded on a desert island with $1 trillion, it's not useful because there's no
There's no labor to allocate. You just allocate yourself. So